So the other day I was perusing the internet and I came across this. I bought $700,000 worth of Intel stock today. Oh my, too long didn't read. Grandma died 2 months ago, left me 800 grand of inheritance. I'm only a junior in college and as a math major, blah, 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 I don't really have use for this money. He then went on to list reasons why he likes Intel and why he invested in that company. Now this dude got roasted in the comments. Some of my favorites. Do they have a math class at your college called Putting All Your Eggs in One Basket 101? Or who likes guaranteed income when you can put it all on black? In this case, Intel will be worth $700K in 10 years. And my favorite, as of right now, he owns $660,000. Scratch that. $580,000. Scratch that. $575,000. $556,000. $545,000 in Intel stock. And the reason why this comment exists is because the timing of this trade is impeccable. If you look at his initial screenshot, he bought in at around $30 a share. Right now, at the time of this filming, it's at $21. Now look, this kid got absolutely roasted in the comments. There are literally thousands of people telling him why this isn't a good idea. Now, I would have thought that this is common knowledge that you probably shouldn't put $700,000 of your $800,000 inheritance, which is literally like never work again money if you just invest it for maybe 10 years, and it's definitely retire early money, but I guess it's not. So I'm gonna use this as a teaching experience and a learning experience. I could make this video like 30 minutes long and just go down the list point by point of all the reasons why he thinks it's a good investment, and it would take forever. But instead, I'm going to just touch on the basics that everyone should know. If you inherit money or you have money or you are investing, you probably shouldn't put all your money in one basket. There's this thing called diversification, and it exists for a reason. And even if you are, let's say you are very highly skilled at investing, okay, like Warren Buffett is, I'm telling you right now, there are very few people who have had a very long career in investing who bet everything on one stock. Even Warren Buffett, even the greats, Benjamin Graham, even the greats of investing diversify. Now, yes, they maybe don't just buy an S&P an S&P 500 tracking fund. Maybe they actually pick their stocks. But when you look at their portfolios, it is not one stock. It's 10, it's 20, it's 30, and they are in fields that are not correlated, because when one stock goes down, the others kind of carry the basket. And that's what you need to do with your investing. If it were me and I had inherited what this kid had just inherited, I would have instead, first and foremost, I want to give him at least credit for putting $100,000 in a high yield savings account. That's better than nothing, and at least that'll make him about $4,500 a year as long as high yield savings accounts exist. Remember, they exist right now because the federal funds rate by the Federal Reserve is very high because we're fighting inflation, but that is going to come down. The Fed already signaled it that over the next 2 years, they're going to drop the rates probably to around 3.25% on the Fed funds rate. But even then, that's going to be more than what most people get in an average savings account at like Bank of America. So good job on him. That's at least $100,000 doing something. Here is the problem with the rest. What he should have done is he should have taken that money and he should have either A, stuck it all. If he didn't want to do anything and just wanted to set it and forget it, he should have stuck it into an S&P 500 tracking fund like the VOO, okay, or like the SPY. Something that just tracks the market, or an entire stock market tracking fund. Or if he believed Intel was going to do so well, okay, he gave about 9 or 10 reasons why Intel was going to do so well. That means most likely that tech would also do well, because if Intel does well, it's most likely that other tech companies are going to do well into the future. Because if the economic environment is not good for tech, then Intel's not going to do well. And if Intel does well, it means that the economic environment is good for tech. So he could have, say, taken $100,000, $200,000 of that money and invested it in a tech-heavy ETF like VGT. And the rest should have still gone into a market tracking fund, because he's in college, which means he's young. He's probably 20 to 22 years old, okay? By the time he's 40, if he would have just invested that money, even if he wouldn't have done anything else, even if he wouldn't have added a single penny, okay? Let's give him 15 years. That means before he's 40 years old, he would have a whopping $3.6 million. That is retire early money, even including inflation of, let's say, an average of 3%, which is historically higher than usual. He's going to have retirement early money. That's if he gets just the average 10% return. If he invested some of it in a fund like VGT that tracks tech or other sector-specific funds, there's a very real probability that he has way more money than this. Now, yes, is there a probability that if he invests it all into Intel like he did, that maybe it's worth 10 times what it's worth now? But is that probability high? Well, let's do some numbers. Intel stock right now is worth $95 billion on the market cap. That means the total valuation of the company on the stock market. Now you have to ask yourself, in 15 years, will Intel be worth at least 10 times that? That would put it at a $1 trillion valuation, which is possible. Some companies have a well above $1 trillion valuation, like Apple. Okay, but you have to ask yourself, is that reasonable for a mature company like Intel that is facing stiff competition from other companies like Nvidia, IBM, and Apple? You tell me. Secondly, let me ask you another question. Okay, if it 10x's, that means he will be worth, or his portfolio will be worth about $7 million. If you had just put that money in just an S&P 500 tracking fund, it would be half of that, $3.5 million, with an infinitely amount of smaller percentage risk. So you are basically in a perfect scenario going to maybe get double what you could have done in something that I don't want to say is risk-free, but is very as close as you can get to low risk while still investing your money. Absolutely, the S&P 500 can be worth less in 10 years, but the chance of that compared to the chance of something like one singular stock that, by the way, is about to face a massive class action lawsuit, the chances of the S&P 500 coming down compared to the chances of Intel not existing, even not existing in 10 years, is infinitesimally, if I even said that word correctly, smaller. So, what can we learn from other people's mistakes? Because that's all we can do in life is we can learn from our own mistakes and we can learn from other people's mistakes. This guy is down like $200,000-$300,000 at the time of this filming. Okay, so what can we learn from this? One, do not put all your eggs in one basket. Two, if you're going to invest, even if you have a high degree of financial knowledge and you know how to analyze companies with fundamental analysis, you should not put it all in one stock. You should diversify between 10, 20, or 30 stocks. For the average person, you shouldn't even be doing that. You should just be putting it in market tracking funds and maybe sector tracking funds. Okay? I hope this person, with the thousands of comments that were left on that post, I hope he realizes, if there's still enough time, I hope he realizes that potentially maybe it's a good idea to cut your losses and just do this the right way. Because even with what he has right now, if he sticks this into ETFs, even with what he has right now, he probably could retire before 40, or at least have such a comfortable life that after 40, he would be working at will, voluntarily, not because he has to. Okay? This is a blessing that not everybody gets. And when you inherit money like that, it is a blessing that not every person gets. Do not squander it on investments that can hardly be called an investment because of how risky it is. All right? I hope this video was informative. If you like world economics, if you like finance broken down simply, that's usually what we do. I know I've had a couple of these non-edited videos in a row. It's because I'm going on vacation and I just wanted to have content for you guys. But usually these videos are super edited and I do my research and I put everything together nicely. And I do the whole works and I edit it super good. So if you like finance content, if you like world economics, and if you like investing, you are in the right place. So I hope you stick around for next week's content. Other than that, as always, my name is Derek, and I got my degree in finance, so you don't have to. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.